remember for you when you were rock bottom, do you remember the mindset shift? Do you remember the different actions that you took to start building yourself out of that and gaining momentum?
Here's what I believe in. So I like values and principles. One of the things I'll talk to my insurance executives with is, listen, I want you to grab a piece of paper, okay, and a pen, turn off the noise, turn off music. If you're gonna play any kind of music, play music that doesn't have words in it. It's just the music. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe listen to Chopin or Mozart or something like that, but no words, because words is gonna mess with your head. Grab a paper and pen, turn off everything, and make a list of values and principles you live by. So what are some values and principles? Whatever it could be different thing for everybody else. Make a list of them. For me, I would tell you one of the main values and principles that I live by is beating your prior best. And this is what I mean by beating your prior best. I remember working out and I went to YMCA. I am 13, 14 years old. I am 6'1", 135 pounds, 6'1", 140 pounds, skinny really skinny. I'd wear 4 shirts at the gym and I try to, bench press 45 pounds, the bar, and I couldn't do it, because it was like, wobbly and all this stuff. And a guy named Fred pulled me aside and he says, listen, don't worry about how big some of these guys are in the gym. I just want you to focus on one thing. Your favorite weight in this gym is this 2.5 pound plate. This is it. It's your favorite weight. This has got to be your best friend. I said, tell me why. He said, every week, increase your bench by 2.5 pounds. Now you got to realize 2.5 pounds with 5 pounds is 7.5 pounds. If you go to the gym and see a guy bench pressing 7.5 pounds on each side, that's comedic. That's not very, Hercules or anything that's impressive. So I said, okay, that's what I'm going to be doing. And he says, don't look at anybody else's muscle. You just focus on your 2.5 pounds. A year later, I'm bench pressing a plate on each side. A year later, I'm bench pressing a plate and a quarter, then 2 plates and 2 plates and a quarter, then 3 quarters and 3 quarters and a plate. I'm bench pressing 385 pounds and curling 90-pound dumbbells. And I'm, doing what I'm doing at that point, climbing ropes in the army with one arm and no legs being tied to it. And everyone's looking at the same, what happened? So when that moment happened to me and I hit rock bottom, the one principle I 100% trust that Peter gives me so much peace is constantly beating my prior best. So at that moment, I made a list of all my prior bests, every aspect of the numbers that I want to measure. And I just said, I got to beat this. I got to beat this. I got to beat this. And that's it. And I kept beating those things. And then all of a sudden I started beating other people. And all of a sudden I was number one. Then all of a sudden the marketplace that was bigger. Then all of a sudden you're competing and win. So that philosophy is one of the principles that became my number one focus.
That's a huge key because I don't think people think like that. Most people are comparing themselves to others, not their personal best. What are your philosophies and perspectives on $250,000, $500,000 to 7 figures and kind of really giving people grasp of how to get there?
You'll learn a lot about yourself and others when they make $250,000 year income. A lot. Let me explain to you why. So for somebody watching this and they're at $100,000, $250,000, what you think to get to $500,000 or $1 million or whatever the next level is, you don't have it right now. You have to recreate yourself. You're not going to get to the next level if you don't recreate. If you think that you today is going to get to the next level, you are fooling yourself and everybody else around you. It's not. There's got to be something in your game that you got to sit down and say, I don't want any of my cousins, my friends that I don't see the next 3 to 6 months recognize me when I see them. 3 to 6 months from now, I don't want my cousins, my friends. I don't want them to see me. I want it to be a shock to them. We used to do this in bodybuilding back in the days, Peter. We used to lift weights. And my buddy and I, Bradford, that ended up working, he made it to the highest level in the military, Delta Force, just crazy stuff that he did. We would work out and we would wear sweaters and we wouldn't see our body even in the shower for 3 months. We would hide it from ourselves and everybody else. 3 months later, we would take off our shirt and we'd look at the mirror. We're like, oh my gosh, I don't even recognize this guy. And we would do it amongst our peers. No one would recognize you. Sometimes you got to do that in business as well in life.
So tactic-wise, so you're saying the first step is recreating yourself, thinking different, like getting outside yourself and starting to think at a higher level. What would the tactics be in a business situation to scale up and go from $500,000 to $1 million?
The first thing I look at every time I go into a restaurant or I go into a business, I go into a gym. Like I went to a gym right here. It's called Telos in Dallas. I looked at a gym inside. Peter, they've probably invested $10 million into this gym. It looks insane is what the gym looks like. That's how much is a monthly? $99 a month. How many members you guys got? it varies, depends on what it is. And I looked around and I said, man, this place is empty. And I went at night, it was empty. I said, this place is losing money all the time. Yeah, it's losing money. When are they doing upgrades? They haven't done upgrades for 12 years. No wonder they haven't done any upgrades. Why not? They haven't done any upgrades because they don't have the math. So how am I going to upkeep a place when I'm just sustaining the place because I only have 2,000 members paying whatever the number is? That's not a lot of money. So how are you maintaining all these employees, personal trainers, marketing, where you're competing with 24-hour and all this? I mean, it's not a contract, all these other things. The first thing I look at with any business, Peter, is math. It's the first thing. I go into a restaurant, I see traffic. I go to a restaurant here in Neighborhood Services, I go there minimum twice a week. I look at their traffic. I do the math based on the ticket and the ticket item and what's their profit margin. First time I spoke to Curtis Stone, celebrity chef. He's got 2 restaurants in Beverly Hills. One is called Maud and another one is a butcher type of a restaurant. He set up Gwyn. I said, tell me the math behind running a restaurant. And he showed me the math on how it works. So first thing first is math on how to scale it. You simply need to figure out the math of what do I need to do to scale my business. But that's not the most important one. The most important one is the mindset behind the individual that's doing the math. And that is what matters the most. When you talk to Curtis Stone, you know the guy's obsessed about building an amazing restaurant while 98% of restaurants bring outside investors. This guy's using his own money to grow the restaurant. No wonder he's doing so well and he's got loyal customers going to him because his butt is on the line. He's doing it because he trusts himself, because he trusts that he's going to come through. In order to make that transition of recreating yourself, one can't be content with where they're at. Look, there's a few things I can't teach other people. You can't teach other people. You can't teach them desire. You can't teach it. Life has to happen or you got to make a decision to have desire. I can't teach you desire. I can't teach you discipline. You can watch my discipline and see how I work and what time I'm at the office and how late I stay and when I leave and me taking care of my body and my day. You can watch my discipline, but you can either choose to do it or not choose to do it. There's nothing I can do to pass that part to you. Now, skill set, how to sell. I can teach you how to sell. Sit with me for a month, you'll be a ridiculous salesperson. Sit with me on 5 different conference calls, you'll learn negotiating tactics that you'll be much better at. All my guys here that work with me, I do negotiations on conference calls with everybody know when I tell them, I have 3 of my executives here on this call as well. Let's go through it. Why? Because I want these guys to also learn how to negotiate so they don't need me when there's a negotiation taking place and we know how to get the best contract in place. Those things I can teach you. I can't teach you discipline. I can't teach you desire.
I want to do a couple member questions. We'll kind of just dive through so you could just answer them kind of rapid fire. Sure. Sound good?
Yes.
So I'm in the plumbing business. When do I know it's the right time to hire someone to do the work that I do now? I'm uncertain if I need to continue doing the work or hiring another plumber to fill in the spots so I could focus on sales calls. I think he's doing about 300 to 400K in business, but he wants to get to $500,000 in 7 figures. You kind of already answered it, but go ahead.
What's his name?
Brandon.
So here's what I would tell you. So I said this in our executive meeting yesterday. This is how I do math when I'm hiring somebody. Let me just explain it to you. It's very logical. It's very simple. There is no complications to it. So I look at, one, can I afford it right now? Yes, great. Here's how I look at it. Say I'm hiring this person, they're going to cost me $40,000, right? Okay. That person coming on board that I'm going to pay $40,000, are they going to do one of these 2 things for me? Listen, it's very simple, Brandon. Is this $40,000 person going to bring me $60,000 of revenue? Because if they do, I'm making 20 grand. Did that make sense? So if I'm bringing a $40,000 your guy and he's going to make 60, why not bring him on board? It's an easy no-brainer because I'm going to make $20,000 in profit. Or here's the other part, the second part. If I bring this $40,000 your person and they're going to save me of losing $60,000 a year of business every year, and I'm making 20 on the 40 I'm paying, I'm also going to make that investment. So it's very basic math that you make on that. That's the math part. The other side I would tell you is the following. You got to figure out who you need next. A lot of times people want to hire somebody. Maybe you need them 2 years from now or 3 years from now or 18 months from now or 6 months from now. You got to hire which department needs the most attention today. That'd be my answer to you.
Huge. I love that. It's such a simple way to look at it as well.